Welcome to the third and final segment of our discussion today. I've been always fascinated, in terms of the hands-on activities that we can use to support better understanding and, and retention of this content. What are some of those that come to mind?
All right, we are in a technological age, so yes, we need to take advantage of that. And majority of us, we do have the smartphones nowadays.
Yes. Even the
learners use WhatsApp,
the most important person,
and Facebook, etc., etc. Yes. So in this instance, educators might even go on and get smart apps.
Okay.
Apps on smartphones. You've got your Google Sky.
Is it on Google Play, your iTunes?
Google Play Store.
Okay.
Those places.
Okay.
You get your Google Sky map.
Okay.
That would show you the constellations, what is up in the sky. You can go on the internet to something else, which is skymaps.com.
Okay.
And it would show you something that talks to what is visible in the night sky on every day.
And what to look out
year,
for.
What to look out for, etc. And you've got entities like your Esri.com connected, and you'd get multitude of resources as well from there. But coming to activities that teachers can do in the classroom. Now we can use analogies like onions. For example,
in terms of the profiling of understanding of the earth, I take it. Okay.
Yes.
Even the atmosphere, can we do the same?
Yes, most definitely. But now it's analogies at any rate.
Okay.
And so you use the onion to talk of the layers of the earth, the solid earth itself. Okay. But you can also talk about the atmosphere. Because, for example, if you do onion rings, you know that there are those solid layers of the onion. And then you have those thin films in between those layers. Okay. Those could be the mesopause, the stratopause, the thermopause, etc.
The issue of using models, again, is one of the areas that you recommend could enhance also the learning process.
Most definitely, because the learners are hands-on in the classroom. And these things could be hung up so that throughout the year they are able to see what they have done and they are able to retain it much more.
The sense of ownership.
Yes,
you can
definitely.
Think of it that
definitely.
Okay.
And the research that they will be doing in trying to make this thing what it should be.
So the classroom environment, essentially, it needs to be, supportive and lively. Like in the fourth quarter, as we interact with this content, the theme will be anything from space, the planet Earth and beyond.
It is everything.
Okay.
Bringing them all together. And the liveliness we talk about, it's having these learners do these things, and there's emotion, and they retain these things, and science is demystified. It's no longer intimidating.
Excursions, you mentioned Haltrau as one of the, it's definitely our partner in education.
Yes.
We may take advantage of that. Beyond that,
you are welcome to come. You've got your WITS planetarium. You've got the observatory at SANSTA. You've even got SANSA, South African National Space Agency, which is very close to Haltrau in terms of the premises themselves. Now, activities in the classrooms. You can have teachers building earth globes. Whether it's polystyrene, whether they are using
whatever readily available
material, and having learners in groups so that each gets to contribute and find out information, and they can have these things presented in classes.
Okay, let's shift our gears a little bit. I'm a firm believer that each time we interact with content, we need to speak to the various available career opportunities. What is it that we can, because it's actually my first time to interact with an earth scientist. I've heard about that. I've heard about that.
I'm representing them well.
Most definitely, more importantly, the learners need to understand what are some of the avenues that are available. And we could also inform, the subject choices. Take us through that.
At the level at which this might be aimed at, they definitely must do maths and science, so that they continue with it up to grade.
So those are the core.
It's very important, those particular ones. Of course, they will do the things that will still have your geography and your life sciences and all of that. But when push comes to shove, if you don't have the maths and the physics, it usually is an issue, even if you have the other subjects and you've passed them well.
So the mere passion is not enough without those two core subjects.
Everything needs tools for you to be able to do them. And when you do the science, the physics and the maths, that is you being trained in ways of how to think and being exposed to these things and having this brain ready to deal with these things once you get to university.
Okay, then speaking of which, we also want to think about, ways of teachers collaborating in terms of resources, because you mentioned quite a lot of readily available, which is what I usually refer, we usually refer to it as, shoestring science. From cheap, readily available material,
recyclable
material, the learning experience can be enhanced, you know. So the issue of saying science cannot be taught and learned, you know, because of this excuse of resources.
One must not confine themselves to the prescribed text.
Okay.
And secondly, one must be able to, even when they hit a brick wall in terms of their understanding, try to look for other things that might explain this.
So collaboration is very key.
Exactly. Okay. Help. Asking for help, having people that explain these things a bit differently.
Okay, but then let's look at an issue where there is indeed collaboration amongst teachers in terms of resources. You know, competence is another area. We need to be adequately prepared so that we can deliver and manage the content to the learners. Clearly, you know, you spoke of analogies, you spoke of resources. The issue of planning also is important.
Most definitely. Most especially because in the classroom, everything has to be logical.
Yes.
It has to be planned in such a way that it can be assessed as well.
And also what guides us is the policy. Okay, I would love for us to go on and on, but, you know, in 20 seconds, closing remarks.
With the closing remarks, I would say that science is not something to just be taught, memorized, and perhaps regurgitated.
Okay.
So teachers will teach content in the classroom, but what we try and do is to empower the teachers to allow for this space where inquisitiveness is encouraged, where learners are involved in activities.
So we can transfer the same skill to the learners.
Yes, because as they grow in studying science and working in institutions, you have to introduce new information. You have to answer questions that have not been tackled before.
The science is not static.
So that drive will come from you wanting to know more inherently.
Most definitely.
And genuinely pushing the boundaries.
No, say it like a true professional. The passion thereof is unquestionable. Okay, I think, like I've said, indeed, this has been an enlightening experience for me. Hopefully, the teachers out there took something out of this. Colleagues, that was it as far as teaching the atmosphere, particularly, under the strand of planet Earth and beyond. Hopefully, this has been, a rewarding engagement between myself and, Simpiwe. Some of your questions, in terms of how exactly we excite, learners in terms of the teaching and managing of this content. That said, from myself, Temba Mnubes, cheers and bye-bye for now.